Right, so we've got all the side plates in now. Them top steps fit pretty nice, they're in. Yeah, we just need to put the floor plates in now. So that's how much water's run into it overnight. So I have to pump that out and then get some floor plates put in. Morning. How are you? Brash is about flat. Now this is one of the floor plates. We're going to use the old floor plates, which are not too bad. They're a bit rusty, but they'll clean up. I've just welded a bit of angle iron under the bottom to strengthen it, and then a bit on there for the next sheet to sit on, and then that will get welded across from the other side. And then it's not quite in the middle, but I've spaced it so it's going to be 6 even spacings all the way down, because we only got one length of angle iron. Turn it over. I'm just going to see if it'll fit in first, and if it'll fit in, then I'll start doing the same with the others. Right, that's another floor plate ready to go in. The angle's welded on, and that lip welded on there. So I'm here by myself at the moment, so I can't drop this in. So I'll get the other two ready and done, and then we'll drop them in all at the same time. You've already seen me do that though, so I'll be back once I've got the other plates done. Right, we've got one more plate to drop in at this end. That plate won't go all the way to the end, there'll be a bit left, it's a bit short, and then a bit of a sump to make at that end in case they ever want to wash it out. They can, a bit of a sump, and then they can use the submersible pump and suck it out. But I think I'll leave that open for now, that end open, and I'll start welding it up, and then I'll finish that last bit off right at the very end. I don't want to put that in and then it start filling up with water and there's nowhere to suck it out from. And then these bits of angle iron, I've spaced them out evenly all the way down, so some plates have 2 on and some only have 1 on. It's just how it's worked out for the spacing. But yeah, we'll get that one dropped in now. Right, so that's that last floor plate in. We still have that much space to fill in yet, but I'll say leave that bit to the end. I'll get some welding done and get the bolts into the side. So to hold it in, I'm going to mag drill through the side. I'm going to do 11 down there and then another 11 down the top. So the 22 fixing points side to side to hold it in. And I'm going to use threaded bar. So I'll mag drill a hole through the side and then an 18mm STS drill into the concrete, and then we've got some of this resin. We're going to squirt the resin into the hole, put the threaded bar in, and then weld round the end of the threaded bar onto the steel so it doesn't leak through and it holds it in. I've used ChatGPT for the calculations, and according to that there'll be 17.8 ton of force trying to lift it out of the concrete, but it says 22 either side will be plenty enough to hold it in, providing it's good concrete at the sides. So I'm just going to drill this one. I'm just going to test this one, make sure it's going to work before I end up drilling a load of holes and then realise it's not going to work. I've got all these marked up sort of roughly where they need to be. I have to drill a hole out bigger because the drill won't fit through. I've got that drill to fit through there. I just ground a bit off the sides on the bench grinder. And it does fit now, sort of. So it's an 18mm masonry drill, an 18mm hole, but it was slightly bigger than was this. But I think I'm going to stop doing that. I've decided I'm going to do a bit of welding first, because when I weld it, it'll pull a little bit, and I don't want to fill all these gaps up with dust and bits of metal and crap before I weld it up. So yeah, I think I'll leave that for now. I'll tack everything in, tack the steps in, a few bits to make to fit around there. And yeah, I'll do some welding first. So yeah, I'll get most of the welding done, then I'll drill these holes and bolt it through, and then yeah, last bit will be to fill that in, so there'll be no pressure or no water builds up behind it until that bit is finished. With these steps I've sort of cut strips out and gone around them to fill in them gaps. Same on this side. So I think I'm going to have a go at welding these in now. strips up there. There is a few gaps there that I might have to fill in. I think that should weld in relatively nice. So yeah, I'm gonna have a bit of a go welding that in now, I think. I'll weld everything that's on a level first, and then I'll go back and do the uprights. Right, I've got most of the steps welded up now, then plates welded round. So there's a few bits yet to do. There's a bit of a gap there I had to fill in, and that doesn't fit that well, so I'll have to plate that over. There's a plate to go in there as well, but I'll do that later on. So I'm going to have a go at welding the floor up now, all the way down, and the gaps in between as well. So Pete, that was helping, one of the other lad that was helping, has a mask welding helmet the same as mine. Oh, this one's actually a newer one than mine, so I'm having a go with his. But what I've done is I've joined two of the pipes together, so that's his pipe joined onto my pipe, and then I've put that onto the bottle, just wrapped it around the bottle, so then that'll suck in clean air and then blow it down into the helmet while I'm in the bottom, so it's not breathing in the welding gas. And also I've got this little fan that'll help blow air into the pit. Whether it'll make much difference or not, I don't know, but I should, without there, I should be breathing in clean air. Yeah, I think I'll do that first and then I'll weld this up after. We'll get all the low down welding done first. Right, we're getting there with the welding. So I've got welded all the way down there, all the way to there, and then I've got welded all of them joints across, and then I've got welded to there at this side. But I keep having to stop and let the welder cool down because the torch get the whole like cable, the whole lance gets hot because it's only a little torch. And then when I feel the front of the welder, it's too hot to touch under there, so she's getting quite hot. And the earth cable is very hot as well. Surprised it hasn't clicked out. Let's tube cycle. 60% at 250 amp. It's a 330 amp welder, I think, and it's two. Yeah, there's only 2 courses on there, and then 10 on that, and we're on, so I'm 2.5 settings. It's not a bad little welder really. It's Oxford, they are made by TechArc, who's like the same welder as mine at home. I couldn't bring mine though because these are 3-phase, where mine is not 3-phase. Mine's split phase, so I wouldn't be able to run mine down here on this electric. I think while I'm waiting for it to cool down, I'm just gonna take the side off and have a look in it and make sure there's not full of dust and stuff. Give it a blowout. Might not have been blown out for a long time. There's not much to it in there, just three big transformers across there, and then another one there. That's the one that was getting hot. Them fins there are cold. You always want to be careful sticking your fingers in stuff like this in case it has any capacitors in it that hold charge, but this doesn't, I don't think. I've got it unplugged. Yeah, it's a fair bit of dust in it. I'll put the side back on, and I think it's about cooled down again now. Right, I've about got most of it welded up now, so it's taken a while, but we've got there. So yeah, we've got all that welded across the top of there, all the way down, apart from there's a bit of that end yet to do, all the way down there. Some of it didn't weld up that fantastic. The top doesn't really matter for it being sealed up because the water only sort of came up to there, so that's just more to join it all up. And then I've got welded down these joints. Some of it are welded down and some of it are welded up, depending on how big the gap was. That one's grinded off smooth. The plates have moved a little bit. Obviously when I welded the flooring and welded across the top, they moved a bit, so they weren't quite flush in some places. Some of them welded up really nice. It's not too bad. This one, there was a big gap when I plasmed down the end of the sheet. I sort of wandered offline a bit, so I put some backing plates in there, and then I just vertical welded over that. And this top of here, there was a big gap to fill, so that took a bit of doing, but it'll be alright when it's smoothed off. And I haven't welded that bit up yet, and there's the end to weld round, but there's a bit to go in there yet with a sump to go in it, so I'll get that bit made and then weld all that round once I've got that made. I think before I do that, I'll carry on with drilling holes in the side and putting the bar into the concrete. I've got one hole drilled, so I think I'll carry on with that now and get the whole thing fastened into the concrete before I do that last bit. Right, I've got the drill set up again, so we're gonna have a go drilling in here. It's just I don't know how thick the concrete is. You'd expect it to be at least 4 inches thick. But I don't want to drill all the way through it, so I'll drill 4 inches in to start with and see what we're like at that. I've got that hole drilled. I've gone 4 inches deep into there. I think what I'm going to do before I do that one is I'm going to, because I'm putting the row bolts across the top as well, I can drill all the way through and it won't matter because the water table is not that high. So if I drill all the way through the concrete, it's not going to leak water through it like that one is going to do. So I think I'll stick the mag drill on there, drill another hole, and then we'll drill all the way through with that drill, or as deep as we think we need to go, probably 6 inches deep. Well, enough for that anyway. And then these are getting welded round the outside so they don't leak. Just have a quick little food break. I'm making the most of working somewhere where Uber Eats delivers. So we've got what have we got? Subway jacket tatey with taco beef, chicken strips and salad. Yeah, that one actually went all the way through. So yeah, 4 inches is the limit. Don't want to be going any deeper than that. Yeah, I might as well just go down and drill all my holes now then, because I know that's going to be all right. Right, I've got drilled all the way down there with the mag drill and the SDS drill into the concrete. The concrete must not be the same depth all the way down, because some of them have gone all the way through and some of them haven't. But I've drilled to the same depth of them all because I had a mark on my drill of how deep to go. So the ones that have gone all the way through, I've knocked in like an off-cut bit of threaded bar, knocked it in, and then the resin doesn't just disappear off into the wall. And then I've blown them all out and then gone in with the wire brush the hole out, so the hole's nice and clean. All the ones that have gone all the way through I've circled. So I've knocked in little stubs of bar. So yeah, I think they're ready to fill with resin and put the threaded bar in. And then leave them to set, and then I'll weld round them after they've set. It'd be better welding round them than putting a nut on, because trying to get a nut to seal up, I'd have to weld all the way around the nut, so I might as well just weld round all the way around the threaded bar. And these are the bits of bar putting in. So this is the resin that we're using. It says fill a hole 70% full and then put your bolt in, and you've got about 15 minutes processing time and then an hour and a half for it to set. No, it might be a bit warmer. 9 minutes and 60 minutes. Right, I've got all the top row done all the way around. I've used 3 tubes, so we've got 3 tubes left, so we should be right for doing the bottom ones. So the way I was sort of filling the holes, I was putting the tube all the way in and then filling the hole up until you could just see it coming out, and then the bolt is a bigger diameter than the tube, so that must mean there's enough in the tube, enough in the hole. A bit squeezed out around the end, but better than having too much than not enough. So yeah, do the same on the bottom holes now, and let them set, and then I'll weld around them. They have set pretty hard of them first ones I've done. Right, that's all I'm in both sides. So yeah, while we're waiting for that to set, which it has set, I think it's pretty hard, but I'll get this bit cut out and then press a little sump to go in the middle of it, then cut a square out, sit that in, weld it round, weld that round, and meant to weld up still, weld across there, and then all them to weld round once I've got this bit done. Now I've got that bit of plate guillotine to size, and then I'm going to fold a bit of plate to make like a little box or a little pan, and then cut a section out of here and weld that in for the little sump. So I've got that bit cut. Taking some of the press tooling out and put this bit in, which is the right width, so I can fold all 4 edges hopefully, and yeah, make a little pan. Just sort of guessing how much I need to take out. I'm doing 100mm press, but you always sort of lose a little bit, so there's always a gap in the corner, so I'm going to cut out 95mm, and hopefully that'll match up alright without having a gap. Right, I got that pressed, welded up, and then welded onto that other floor plate. Also welded a hydraulic fitting into it, so we can either fill it with water through there to test it, and then if it does leak, we can suck the water back out through there, get the water level below where the welds are, and then, yeah, just in future, if it ever does need to be drained out, it can be. So that is ready to go in there now, and we just clean them edges up a bit where it's going to be welded round, and then that can be dropped in and welded in as well. I think that is all the welding done then, so I've got welded all the way around there, and then got both ends welded up. And there was a bit of a gap to fill there, but we've got that filled. There is a bit of a gap down the back of there, just sort of how it's fit, but I think we're gonna make a bit, press a bit around there, and then maybe bolt it back to that to cover that over, and just make it look better as well. I think I'll leave that as it is for now, because if we fill it with water, I can look down the back of there and see how high the water level is. So I'll leave that for now. And I've got all these welded round, somewhat chopping off, smoothing off. Bit of water, I was cooling them down after I'd welded them up. I was cooling them down because I didn't know how the resin would react to the heat. Didn't want the heat to expand the bolt and then it split the resin open. So I cooled them down, so now I want trimming off. Well, yeah, other than that, we're about sorted. There's a bit of steel to go in the top of there and a bit to fill in that side, but they were just deciding what they were going to do for wires and whether they're going to run a wire down there, so I'm not going to do that just yet until they decide what they're going to do with a wire and maybe air pipe. I think I'll just go down with the grinder now, clean everything up, and I'll maybe clean some of these up underneath here, see if there's any holes anywhere, before I fill it with water, and then we'll fill the outside of it with water and see if there's any leaks. Right, we're connecting those on, I'm going to fill it with water and see if it leaks. Right, we've got water running in now, it might take a while. He's back off holiday and brought us all COVID. Right, we've got a few leaks, so the water level's just got to the level of the floor now. We've got a leak there, sort of where it's been cold at the bottom of the weld. I think there was one there where the joint is. Leaking there, so that's to grind out and go over that bit. We've got quite a big leak here. That weld is just not fused properly. Another one there at the bottom where it's cold. Another one there. And another one there, quite a few leaks. I'll go around and mark where all the leaks are. I'll take that fitting out, and then probably put the submersible pump into there, let it run out to there and pump it out. Pump it out, we're just using big Milwaukee pump. Pump it out into the arm. just enough for it's below the floor level. Right, we've got it filled up with water to see that back of there. It's about to there somewhere now. There is still a few leaks. I've welded over a few, but we've still got some. But the floor is very springy, so I think we'll have to put some bolts down through the floor with that resin, because it's just like walking on a waterbed. I've marked all the leaks. I think I'll go over them with a TIG welder rather than the MIG, because the MIG you just end up laying more weld on top of it. And obviously I can't weld it while there's water coming through, so I'll have to drain it back out again. But yeah, I didn't expect the plate this thick to spring up and down like it is. So for the floor, we're going to put 15 bolts down, same as these side ones, into the concrete. So I've got them marked out the spacings, and then I've chalk marked it, or chalk lined it down the middle. So I'll drill them through. Hopefully the mag drill will stick to the checker plate, and then yeah, drill into the concrete. I've got some resin that will work in water. We've got some of that instead of that, which will actually set underwater. But once we've drilled the holes, we'll be able to put the pump in with a thinner pipe and suck the water out through these holes. There is a sump in the middle, which is about there. I didn't know whether to drill a hole down into that sump and suck the water out from there or not. Okay, I'll drill these holes and see how we get on from there. So that hole I've drilled is right where the sump is. So I'm going to put this pipe in, suck it out with that, and then got some elaborate setup to get the water outside. There's a burr on the end of the pipe. It won't go through, it's all burred. Oh yeah, she's in. while that's pumping out, I'll carry on drilling the holes. I'm going to use the plate magnet to stick to the checker plate, because the mag drill won't stick to it, and then clamping the mag drill to the plate magnet. Got a little special appearance from Connie's little girl.
Site foreman.
Site foreman with a little, well, it's an adult snowball engineering jumper.
You getting all shy?
Fake buzz.
She's also another YouTube video. Hyper, pretty. Hyper, pretty. Hyper, pretty. 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 Good girl.
Squint. I've got all them holes drilled all the way down and the bits of box put in there. There's a bit of a pop in the floor here, so before I weld round them, I'm just going to put the part pack in, a bit of box section over there and across there, and push it down. And then when it's pushed down, then I'll weld it round. Perfect.
That was almost like I measured that.
Yeah. Wanted a straight edge to sit on there, didn't we? A bit of an idea of when it was.
Use that.
jump a bit more. Back up a bit, it's just popped the other way now. Oh, there, probably. There's still a bit of a low there and a bit of a low there and a bit high in the middle. Right, I think that is all my bit done then. So I've welded around all them. The floor seems a lot sturdier now. What else did I do? Oh yeah. Cut out a circle in there and put a bung in there right above where that sump is, so if ever needs be you can drop a pipe in there into the sump. It's like a 10 inch by 10 inch and it's like 1.5 foot deep sump. You can pump all the water out by there if you ever have to do, and then there'll be a cap to go in there obviously. And then all the places where it leaked I have ground them all out, and then I've been over them with a TIG welder. So it's mainly where the joint is downwards. So where this joint is and it goes onto there, that seems to be where it's been leaking. So yeah, that's TIG welded, that's TIG welded, that's TIG welded, and that's TIG welded. There was a bit there and a bit there, and then in the corners. So that hopefully should all be sorted now. And then there was also a bit on the steps that was leaking. So everywhere that was leaking, I've gone over it with a TIG welder. And so hopefully that should have got rid of any of the pinholes. I haven't done anything with that yet because it depends how they're going to get the wire and the compressor fitting into here. Because the power comes down that post, so they're gonna, I think, cut a bit into the concrete and bring it around there somehow. And then there's these like LED strip lights that are gonna go in underneath that, like that. So it sort of protects it, and it's also adds strength into the side of the pit. But Joe and Pete are going to sort that out, and then they're going to leak test it again because I haven't got time to do it this week. And if there's any leaks again, I'll obviously come back and fix them, but hopefully there shouldn't be. But I will come back once it's done and show you the finished pit when they've got it painted and the lights in and everything how they want it. But that's just, sort of as much as what I can do. Now, whether lining it out with steel is the best way to do it, I'm not sure. But before, when the water was leaking through the concrete, you couldn't actually see where the water was leaking in. It just sort of appeared. You couldn't actually tell where it was coming from. We did think about painting the steel before we put it in, but then we thought where the welds would be, it'd just burn the paint off anyway, and then water would get behind it. So we didn't go with that idea. Rust obviously will get it eventually, but it'll take a long time. It's 5mm thick steel is the sides, and the checker plate floor is 8mm plus pattern, and that's been in for a lot of years already because we reused the old checker plate. I did think about, you can get that stuff you put in your central heating system that stops your radiators going rusty, where they could tip some of that in underneath it and down the back of it. Whether that would help it or not, I'm not sure. Another possibility is you could fill the bottom and the sides with like self-leveling concrete. That'd seal it up as well. So there's a few options you could do if need be. Now this other pit here has steel sides, and you can see where the water level's been on that, and that's been fine. That's not rotted out. So I just want to say a big thanks to Pete as well for giving me a hand. He's had his own jobs to do, but he's been about to give me a hand. It'd have been a long job if he hadn't been there to help me. So yeah, thanks Pete for your help. And I've been using a fair few of his tools as well. So yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, that's all for this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.